Right, Rangers faithful, from Alan Brazil stirring the pot with his cheeky Tottenham comments to a predicted Rangers 11 that's got fans divided. Who's in, who's out? And wait till you hear about this shock target who smashed a 30-minute hat-trick. Could he really be Ibrox bound? Plus 6 new players in January. We're talking big transfer rumours and Clement's plans to shake things up. And what about Patrick Stewart's first mission as Rangers CEO? Is new money getting put on ice? Oh, and Ange Postecoglou's back in Govan with Spurs, and you won't believe what he said about the Rangers fans. And finally, a £5 million rated winger making wave under Jose Mourinho. But are our chances of signing him already slipping away? Stick around because this is going to be one fiery roundup you won't want to miss a second of. Our classic Alan Brazil stirring the pot, eh? It's like he's always got one eye on the banter and another on winding folk up, especially when Rangers are involved. His cheeky calm down to Shaban Ahern after her quip about Rangers smashing Spurs had all the subtlety of a Glasgow Saturday night out. Ahern's calm as a cucumber line was a belter too. Proper Celtic fan energy in there, wasn't it? You could almost hear her smirking. But let's talk business. The match itself. Spurs are turning up to Rangers without their main centre-backs, and that defence already looks as steady as a drunk bloke on Sauchy Hall Street at 3 in the morning. Ange Postecoglou must be sweating bullets knowing Rangers are in red-hot form. Fresh off that 4-1 pasting of Nice, you can almost see him trying to piece together a backline like he's doing a jigsaw with missing pieces. Clement's got the lads humming, though. 4 straight wins, Rangers firing on all cylinders. There's a swagger about the team that feels like it's building up to one of those iconic European nights at Rangers. Mind you, he's taking a gamble, dropping to 1 up top for this one. Tactical genius or overthinking it? That's up for debate. But if there's ever a time to catch Spurs wobbling, it's now. They've been leaking goals faster than a dodgy pint glass. Still, Spurs have their quality. Ange Postecoglou isn't exactly a joke, and they've got the firepower to punish anyone who takes them lightly. So it'll be all about the balance. Tight at the back and sharp on the counter. Feels like it could be one of those tense, edge-of-your-seat nights that's made for a late winner. Now, here's the kicker for you, mate. Should Rangers really be playing their strongest team against Spurs, or should they hold back a bit with the Celtic clash looming on Sunday? Is the glamour of a Europa League win worth risking fresh legs for the Premier Sports Cup final? Well, here's one for the rumour mill, isn't it? A young lad from the Malaysian Super League making waves and suddenly getting linked to Rangers, Arif Aiman Hanapi, not exactly a name you'd expect to hear over a pint in the Loudon Tavern, but after his 30-minute hat-trick, maybe it's time we start paying attention. I mean, a 30-yard screamer into the top corner. That's the sort of stuff you dream about on a cold Tuesday night at Rangers. Now, let's be honest here, mate. The Malaysian Super League isn't exactly Serie A, is it? You'd fancy even a team like Ross County to turn over most of their sides. But talent's talent, and you can't ignore his numbers. 14 goals in 24 games and a knack for making defenses look daft. Sounds like he's got a bit of swagger about him too, doesn't he? Proper big fish in a small pond energy. Clement will be rubbing his hands if there's any truth to this. A winger who can score, graft, and adapt to a more physical style. That's music to the ears of any manager. And let's not forget, with Cerny only here on loan and Matondo and Cortez spending more time on the treatment table than on the pitch, we'll need reinforcements. If this lad's the real deal, we could be snapping up a gem before anyone else catches on. Still, it's a big jump from Malaysia to the Scottish Premiership, isn't it? It's one thing to tear up Kuala Lumpur City and another to take on a rugged St Johnstone backline on a freezing day at Rangers. But who knows? Maybe this Hanapi kid's got that something special. Here's one to get the debate going. Is it worth taking a punt on an unproven talent from a smaller league? Or should Rangers stick to more seasoned players? for a January signing. 6 new players in January. That's not just a transfer window, that's a proper shopping spree, isn't it? Sounds like Clement's looking at the squad and thinking this needs a full overhaul. And let's be honest, he's not wrong. Some of the summer signings haven't exactly set the world on fire. Robin Proper, I'm looking at you, and with 11 points to claw back on Celtic, we can't afford passengers in this team. The talk of 3 defenders is a no-brainer. The backline's been held together with duct tape and hope at times, hasn't it? Sutar and Balogun are doing all right, but relying on them to stay fit all season, riskier than leaving your car unlocked outside Rangers. Adding a versatile defender who can cover centre-back and right-back, a smart move, and left-back. Let's face it, we've been crying out for proper depth there for ages. A midfielder's I must too. Strength in depth. There's more depth in a puddle outside the Broomloan stand. And up top, with injuries to Matondo and Cortez dragging on, we need more firepower, someone who can actually put the ball in the net regularly. You can't just rely on Danilo and Dezers to do it all. Plus, the mention of Marco Soldo's name has already got the rumor mill spinning. Could he be the one to add a bit of bite and creativity in the middle of the park? But here's the big question. Clement's position seems tied to these plans. If the board's even thinking about pulling the plug on him, what happens to these signings? Are they planning for the long term under Clement, or are we risking another scattergun approach if someone else steps in? Here's one to get the comments flying. Should Rangers splash the cash on 6 new signings in January, or is it better to focus on just 2 or 3 proven game changers and rebuild properly in the summer? Well, Patrick Stewart, not the Star Trek one, mind you, has quite the task ahead of him at Rangers, doesn't he? Taking over as CEO right after the Premier Sports Cup final against Celtic, no less. Talk about stepping straight into the fire. Barry Ferguson, always one to speak his mind, reckons the first order of business isn't just drumming up new cash, but getting a proper chairman in place. Stability's the name of the game, according to Baz, and he's not wrong, is he? John Gilligan's been holding the fort in the meantime, but there's only so long you can run things on an interim basis. With Ferguson's comments and the board already sniffing around for fresh investment, it's clear the club's juggling multiple priorities. New money is obviously critical. We need the funds to compete on and off the pitch, but you don't want to throw cash into chaos. Sorting the leadership structure is vital, especially when you're trying to attract big investors. And Patrick Stewart's CV does look the part. Coming from Manchester United, he's been in the thick of things at one of the world's biggest clubs, so he's no stranger to the kind of pressure and scrutiny Rangers demand. The big question is whether he can hit the ground running, because there's no time for easing in, not with the team 11 points behind Celtic in the league and plenty of fans wanting answers both on the pitch and behind the scenes. Here's one for the discussion. Should Patrick Stewart focus on finding a new chairman as a priority, or should bringing in fresh investment to strengthen the squad and modernize the club take precedence? Ange Postecoglou back at Rangers with Spurs, and it's clear the man knows exactly what he's walking into. The reception, let's just say it won't be a warm one. The Govan faithful will make sure of that, especially with his history as the Celtic boss. You can picture the noise when he steps out of that tunnel. Pure bedlam. He'll get the kind of welcome that only Ibrox on a European night can deliver. But fair play to him. He seems to thrive on it. Ange isn't shying away from the hostility, is he? He's got that bring-it-on attitude, almost reveling in the idea of the Rangers support trying to rattle him and his team. And he's not wrong about the atmosphere being what makes football special. We all saw during those soulless, empty stadium pandemic games how lifeless it all felt. Still, you wouldn't catch me praising his passion too loudly, not with the badge he used to wear on his chest. Looking at his record at Rangers, though, it's hardly legendary, is it? 1 win in 4 visits. The first loss to Gerrard's team, a victory over Van Bronckhorst, a draw against Beale, and then that 3-0 hosing in the dead rubber match. For all the Celtic fans singing his praises, he wasn't exactly a conqueror in Govan, was he? Tonight, though, he's coming with a Spurs team that's limping defensively but still full of quality. The Rangers faithful will need to make Ibrox a fortress, crank up the pressure, and remind Ange what it's like to feel that Govan heat. Here's a fiery one for the debate. If Ange couldn't crack it at Ibrox with Celtic's all-conquering side, what are the chances he'll manage it now with Spurs missing half their defense? Well, the chances of Rangers landing Ogu's Aiden look about as slim as Celtic fans admitting, "We've got the better European record, don't they?" Jose Mourinho doesn't hand out compliments lightly, and if he's raving about the lad's tactical intelligence, physicality, and work rate, you'd imagine Fenerbahce will be locking him down for the foreseeable. Plus, with a contract running until 2028, prying him away for anything less than a fortune would be like trying to squeeze water from a stone. Aiden's profile fits Rangers' current transfer targets perfectly, though. Versatile, direct, and with a knack for popping up with goals and assists. He's exactly what we need out wide, especially with Cerny's loan uncertain and Matondo and Cortez on permanent injury watch. 13 goals and 8 assists last season show he knows his way around the final third. But you've got to wonder, are we chasing a pipe dream here? And then there's the financial side. Aiden cost £5 million in the summer and has only grown in value since. Would Rangers really splash that sort of cash in January, or are we just scouting for future possibilities? Given the board's current focus on stabilizing things behind the scenes and finding new investment, this deal feels more fantasy than reality. Meanwhile, the links to Kwame Poku and Arif Ayman Hanapi seem more grounded. They've got potential and might come at a more realistic price. But here's the thing. Do Rangers need another winger who's already crocked, like Poku, or an untested youngster from Malaysia? Feels like a gamble either way. Here's a poser for the fans. Should Rangers focus on big money signings like Aiden to close the gap on Celtic? Or is it smarter to target affordable prospects and build for the future? If you haven't seen yesterday's video yet, you're missing out. Explosive news about Rangers that'll leave every fan stunned. Go check it out now.